My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Our verse today is Proverbs 29:25. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. There are two realities that prove true in every life found in this verse. The first one is the fear of man brings a snare. And the second reality is that trusting God, you will be safe. You don't have to look far to see these realities being played out every day in our lives and in the lives of everyone you meet. We see examples all through Scripture and in everyday life of the snares fearing man can lead us into. We don't have time in this short time together to look at the implications as they're so far-reaching and we see them so often that it's hard to miss, but they're everywhere. But no one denies the fear of man is something we all struggle with. The fear of man means that we care what people might think about us or say about us. And we should care what people think to a point. But to fear is to care to the point of bondage. It's to care too much. It's all that matters, what others think. And that thought begins to control us. It begins to consume us. It begins to shape us. Everything we do, we are doing with an eye on those whom we fear. There's two sides to the coin of fearing man. We can become people pleasers. We want, we long for, we get to the point where we need their applause, their acceptance, their approval, their likes on Facebook. It's their advice that we seek as they become the final authority in our lives. The other side of the coin is we fear their scorn, their laughter, their rejection, and maybe even physical harm. And consequently, we fall into the snares of fearing man. And as I said, there's so many to mention, it's hard, but let me just give you a couple. Anxiety. How many of our anxious thoughts are about what people will think about us? How many young girls and young women have become obsessed with their looks, of fitting in, leading to eating disorders, depression, and all kinds of other things? The fear of being outed by that popular person they are doing everything they can do to gain their approval of can drive some young people to contemplate suicide if they don't get it. Proverbs 1:10 says, "If sinners entice you, do not consent." If the you in that verse is motivated by the fear of what people think about them, their ability to resist temptation is going to be very low, if they're at all. Try the drug. Take the drink. Let's do something violent. If you say no, you know what happens. You are outed. You are mocked. You are rejected. Everyone starts talking about you. You are the subject of a social media blitz, and none of it is good. And that is more than some people can handle. The fear of being rejected by a boyfriend or a girlfriend can cause moral compromise, giving in knowing it's wrong. The parents, if we're raising a people-pleasing child, a peer-worshiping child, instead of a God-fearing child, they're entering a world filled with snares, too numerous to mention, filled with traps and dangers. Why do we fear man? Well, to fear man is to believe that man ultimately controls our fate, our standing in society, our safety, our status. That I think that we believe that they ultimately control our happiness. That are we prepared to stand in this world? Are we prepared to stand for Christ, though all others forsake us? Isaiah 51:7 says, "Listen to me, you who know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear not the reproach of man, nor be dismayed at their revilings." The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. God is the one who controls our lives. God brings us into favor with men. Our times are in his hands. He is sovereign over our life, not your friends, not your peer group, not your boss. God is. God is in control. Those who trust him are safe. Remember the story of Daniel as a teenager taken 1,000 miles from home and captured by Nebuchadnezzar. But Daniel, when he got to Babylon, was more concerned about sinning against God than he was about offending Nebuchadnezzar. And God protected him. In Luke 12:4 and 5, Luke says, "I tell you, my friends, do not fear those who kill the body, and after that have nothing more they can do. But I will warn you whom to fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has authority to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Those are the words of Jesus. How do I know if I fear God or people? Well, it's a simple question. Who do you fear offending more, God or your friends? Someone has said that fear that doesn't take you to God will take you away from God. So remember, the fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him. He will direct your path, and he will keep you safe. Do you believe that? I pray that this truth will guide us and guard us today as we seek to live for God's glory and for the good of others in the trenches of life. So remember, the fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. God bless.